Hello, friends. Today's read aloud book is Peppa Pig, Peppa's Spooky Halloween. Please don't forget to press the subscribe button. Let's get started. It was Halloween, and Peppa and George were at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house. Please, can we only do spooky things today? Granny asked Peppa. Yes, of course, replied Granny Pig. Most definitely, added Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig loved Halloween. Shall we bake some spooky treats? Said Granny Pig. Yes, please, cheered Peppa and George. Don't these cakes look yummy? Said Grandpa Pig. They are not yummy, Grandpa, said Peppa. They are spooky. Oh, yes, very spooky. Grandpa Pig grinned. Your house is not very spooky, Grandpa, said Peppa. It is not at the moment, said Grandpa Pig, showing Peppa a great big box. But let's see what we can do with these decorations. Wow! Gasped Peppa. You have so many Halloween decorations. Yes, said Grandpa Pig. We have collected a lot over the years. After they had made the house spooky, Peppa and George wanted to make themselves spooky too. They looked in Granny and Grandpa Pig's dressing up box. Hee hee! Monster! Roar! Shouted George, putting on a funny monster costume. Look at me! Ha hee hee hee! Crackled Peppa, who was dressed as a witch. And I'm Z, spooky vampire. Ha ha, said Grandpa Pig in his best vampire voice. Let's try on all the spooky costumes, cried Peppa excitedly. Mummy, shouted George, dressing up as Mommy and falling over his bandages. Meow, purred Peppa, looking just like a witch cat. Tickle, tickle, said George, tickling Grandpa Pig with one of his 8 furry spider's legs. I'm rattling my baboons, said Peppa, shaking her arms and legs in a skeleton costume. Dressing up in spooky costume was lots of fun, especially when Peppa and George were dressed up as ghosts. Boo! Shouted Peppa, jumping in front of Granny Pig. Ooh, you scared me, Ghost George, said Granny Pig. No, I'm Ghost Peppa. Granny, that's Ghost George over there, said Peppa, pointing and giggling. Peppa and George decided to change one more time. George liked the skeleton costume the best, but Peppa had something else in mind. Look at me, said Peppa. I'm a magical Halloween unicorn. Well, we can't have Halloween without a magical Halloween unicorn, can we? Laughed Grandpa Pig. Granny and Grandpa Pig gave Peppa and George a big round of applause. You are both so spooky, said Granny Pig. What spooky things can we do next? Asked Peppa. Why don't you put on a spooky show? Suggested Grandpa Pig. Yes, cried Peppa. We can invite Mommy and Daddy and our friends to watch it. That sounds like lots of fun, said Granny Pig. Spooky fun? Asked Peppa. Oh, yes, of course, Peppa. Spooky fun, said Granny Pig, laughing. Later that afternoon, Mommy and Daddy Pig arrived at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house. Wow! Granny and Grandpa Pig have gone all out this year, said Mommy Pig as she knocked on the door. The door creaked open, and there stood Grandpa Pig in his costume. Welcome to the spooky house, he said. I trust you have come to watch the evening performance of the spooky show. Uh, yes, replied Daddy Pig, a little confused. Once all their friends had arrived, it's time for the spooky show, announced Peppa. We hope you find it spooky, cried George. Everyone in the audience clapped and cheered excitedly. Peppa and Josh took in turns to dress up in the spooky costumes, jump in front of the audience and shout boo. George was a monster and a mummy and a furry spider, and Peppa was a black cat, a ghost, a rattly skeleton, and a cackling witch. Ooh, gasped their friends, giggling. So spooky! At the end of the show, Peppa and George jumped out in their favorite costumes. I'm the magical Halloween unicorn, and this is Skeleton George, Peppa cried. We hope you enjoyed our show. Peppa and George bowed as the audience clapped. Ow! Cheered Danny Dog in his werewolf costume. What a fantastic show, said Vampire Grandpa Pig, patting Peppa and George on the back. Well done! Now then, everyone, said Granny Pig, it's time for some spooky dancing. Hooray! Everyone cheered, jumping up to dance to the funny, spooky music. Did you have fun day at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house? Mommy Pig asked Peppa and George on their way home. No, Mommy, it was not fun, replied Peppa. It was spectacular. Peppa and George love Halloween. Everyone loves Halloween.